I was at the library yesterday watching a David Carroll video called Boycott Negro Women. And in that video, he discussed a campaign that these black women are coming up with to boycott the channels of black male YouTubers. And I listened to his video and I found the whole concept of boycotting a black male's YouTube channel because he is presenting a counterpoint to the standard narrative that black women are presenting to be ridiculous because I understand female nature. I understand that this whole campaign of boycott black male YouTubers channels is just another ploy, just like your black women going their own way and many other campaigns that these black women have had to pretty much try to get attention for themselves. And that's the primary reason why they're doing this campaign. They're doing this because they know that many more black men are not listening to their rhetoric anymore. They're no longer following their narrative. So they're making efforts to go out here and try to censor anybody who presents a counterpoint that presents a critical view of these black women's dysfunctional behavior and their irresponsible and reckless behavior. So they want to try to silence those people, and that's par for the course when it comes down to this Afro-American Negro woman. She pretty much controls a fascist state in the black community, and she wants everyone to present her in a positive light. Again, with an asterisk, because the positive light she wants to present is the view that fits her narrative, not an objective view that presents her in a balanced and humanized light. So when you hear this black female talking about boycott black men's channels, it's just a bunch of really hot air because when it comes down to this Negro woman, all she does is make these big threats to get people's attention, get people emotional, get people riled up, and then try to get them to get into a back and forth conversation with her. Unfortunately, she has seen that her latest ploy, the black women going their own way, has pretty much backfired because what happened was when it comes down to MGTOWs like myself, who are men going their own way, we are focused on ourselves, taking care of our needs, putting ourselves first, and focusing on the goals we want to achieve. We are not concerned with their threats and their ploys to get attention because we know that it's just another ploy to get attention. And this whole campaign to boycott black male YouTubers channels is just going to fall on deaf ears because we know that this black woman pretty much loves attention. And she's the one primarily going to be sitting here. She'll talk about boycotting these channels, but we'll sit here and watch the exact same channels because she wants to hear these black men talking about her, speaking about her. And when she knows that he's not paying her any attention, she knows she's in trouble. And this is something I know from personal experience because I remember back in the days when I was blogging in 2011, 2012, and I was writing critical blogs about this black woman, they would make these kind of threats to me. These black women would sit here talking about they're going to boycott my books, they're not going to buy my books, and they would make these hot air threats to try to get me scared so I would not continue writing these blogs that were critical of black women, such as why 70% of black women are single, why the black woman will be single for the rest of her life, and numerous other blogs that were critical of black women. However, I persevered, and those dissenting voices pretty much started getting more and more silent over time. And this is what black men on YouTube have to do. They have to keep persevering because those dissenting voices from that fascist state are going to get more and more quiet the more you persevere and the more you push. Because these females, they live to get attention, they live for drama, and when they see you reacting to her, they're going to keep pushing the drama narrative. They're going to keep trying to resist you. And this is something I've run into because they've tried to censor me for years, but I refused to let them censor me. I took control of my dialogue, I took control of my narrative, and took control of my blog, and I continue to produce that type of content here on YouTube and even on my blog, Shawn James Black Freelance Writer. And that's what black men have to do. They have to persevere in the face of all this because you're starting to have an impact on this community. You're starting to reach more people. And this is what the fascist state of black women don't want to be heard. They don't want to hear, they don't want these dissenting voices to come out. So they make efforts to censor those dissenting voices. And they want to keep those voices censored so they can continue pushing their whole narrative of black female victimization. A narrative that everyone now knows is a false narrative. They're sitting here saying that, you know, they are so victimized by no good black men that they have to explore their dating options through things like swirling. And we now know that to be not true. And we also know that they have been controlling the black community and they've practically run it into the ground. And this is what a lot of these black females are really scared of. Black men pretty much showing these black females how accountable they are and that they aren't victims. And that's what they want to try to censor. But the truth is coming out, and this is something that they don't want to come out. So they want to control the narrative, and in order to do that, they need to discredit people. And this is something that I have dealt with, again, since 2011, back when I started writing blogs that were critical of this black woman. I've had people pretty much run back to their keyboards to write blogs against me. I've had people make videos against me. I've even had, a radio show try to pretty much roast me. So I've had to deal with this type of counterattack, but I understood that if my words are true, these people wouldn't be doing this. And this is why I encourage other black men to continue, producing your content and continuing to get it out there. Now, when it comes down to this black female and her attempts to try to get these black male channels, boycotted, again, this is another part of another campaign she has had to censor them. Because if you were here on YouTube in the past, you would remember the campaigns to get people's channels flagged, to get their channels deleted, and to get their accounts terminated. All because they were speaking critical of this black woman. I remember guys like Dan Freeman and many others having their channels flagged and deleted numerous times in the early days of YouTube before black men started, speaking out and saying, enough is enough. We're just trying to present our points here, and we are getting censored at every moment, all because this black woman does not want to hear dissenting opinions. And that's the whole crux of this whole thing with this boycott black male YouTubers channels. She doesn't want to hear these narratives. She doesn't want to hear these counterpoints. What she wants to hear from are guys like your Steve Harvey, your Tyler Perry, your Lee Daniels, all who push the narrative of the white liberal, which tell this black woman she is a victim of no good black men. Never a victim of her own choices, and she never has to take responsibility for her own choices. And that's what they don't want to talk about. What they want to talk about is this no good black man who did me wrong, this no good black man who was lazy, this no good black man who pretty much was trifling. What they don't want to say is, you picked that no good black man. That you picked him because you wanted to get children from that white liberal's welfare state. Or you picked him because you liked his swag. That's the main reason why you picked him, because you were emotional and you thought that you could pretty much, get this guy because of your ego, and you wanted to have a guy you could get leverage and control over. So that's why you picked this guy. You did not pick him because you wanted a leader, you wanted a husband, you wanted someone to build a family with. You wanted a pawn you could control and manipulate like a toy that you could pretty much get to do whatever you wanted. And that's what these black females don't want calling out, because this is when black men tell their stories. You hear this different story, and they don't want to push anything. They want to push these guys out of the circle so that they can control the narrative and tell everyone what their view is, but they don't like to hear these counterpoints. And again, that's why this black community has been a fascist state for over 40 years, because the black female has been controlling the narrative, and now she's making these desperate ploys to continue controlling the narrative. What she wants to do is silence these black males so that she can go back to being the victim in her own light. Now, you hear these black women sitting here talking about how the image of black women is being degraded by these black men, but I look at the images that African American women create that degrade their own image. So they can't sit here and say that black men are the ones degrading their image. Now, who makes the choice to do this? I mean, I've looking at the media since 2001, when Halle Berry came out here with Monsters Ball, and she was the first woman to pretty much degrade the black woman's image out here participating in that degrading movie. A movie that Vanessa Williams turned down, a movie that Queen Latifah turned down. Your Halle Berry, the most beautiful black woman in the world, went out here and participated in this movie degrading the black woman's image. However, many of your black women, like your Oprah Winfrey and many others, didn't go out here and march and protest against that movie. A movie that pretty much slapped black women in the face. They pretty much praised it and celebrated Halle Berry winning an Oscar for degrading this black woman's image. And no, Monsters Ball was okay in the eyes of the black woman. She had absolutely no problem with this movie, which pretty much ushered in the age of the degradation of the black female image. That pretty much got a pass from this black female. And you look at the trend regarding the degradation of the black female image, we saw no marches and protests over many of these Tyler Perry movies. Now, these Tyler Perry movies pretty much degrade the black woman's image by presenting her as a victim and breathing brand new life into stereotypes about black women. That black women pretty much are there to be abused by black men who are brutes, and that these black women have no sense of power, responsibility, or accountability for any of their actions. And when I look at other films that degrade the black woman's image, such as your Lee Daniels films, such as Precious, Precious pretty much degraded the black woman's image by reinforcing the old stereotypes regarding black women as welfare queens and mammies. And that movie pretty much breathed brand new life into stereotypes. However, because a woman like Oprah Winfrey came out and promoted it, your Afro-American Negro woman pretty much, again, praised this movie and celebrated Monique winning an Oscar for playing a role that pretty much reinforced every stereotype that white racists have had regarding this black woman's image for years. If we look at the degradation of the black woman's image in the 2000s, in contrast to 1986, when Lisa Bonet decided she wanted to star in Angel Heart, we see that the black women in 1986 were more concerned with the black woman's image than the black women of today. Because back in 1986, when Lisa Bonet decided she wanted to star in this movie Angel Heart, featuring her having sex with Mickey Rourke, the black community got together and marched and protested this movie because they said that the image of the black woman was being degraded. And because they went out and marched and protested against this movie, it pretty much flopped, and they didn't try to pull this type of game again in Hollywood. Meanwhile, today, we see that the black woman's image is degraded constantly in the media. When it comes down to this black female's image, she is pretty much degraded at every turn. Not by black men, but by black women themselves. They do this on reality shows such as your Basketball Wives, your Love and Hip Hop, and many other reality shows reinforcing old stereotypes regarding black women. But these same black women who promote these images in media, such as your Basketball Wives and Love and Hip Hop, will say that it's black men on YouTube degrading their image. I find that to be comical. A show like Love and Hip Hop and Basketball Wives is seen by millions of people across the country and even millions more in other parts of the world. Meanwhile, a YouTube channel like my own may only get maybe 100 views or 200 views, or maybe even 500 or 1,000 max on a video that we produce. Maybe even 5,000 if it's really something they want to watch. However, we're supposed to be degrading the image of black women. I don't see how a black male YouTuber can degrade the black female's image more so than a show like your Basketball Wives or your Love and Hip Hop, which feature black females cat fighting and cursing and getting into all sorts of idiocy. And I don't see how a show that like Scandal, which is seen by millions of people and is one of the most highly rated television shows with a black actress in it, and produced by a black woman, is less degrading than a black male YouTuber's channel. Your Scandal is seen by millions of people in America and is one of the highest rated black shows on the air right now. And this show, which pretty much features a black woman presenting herself as the president's side piece, is considered empowering and uplifting by your black woman, but the channel of a black male YouTuber who pretty much might get maybe 2,000-3,000 views if he's lucky, is more degrading than a show that's seen by millions of people, which perpetuates an old stereotype regarding black women. Moreover, these same black women will sit here and say that these images aren't degrading, and that the black male YouTubers channel is degrading them. And these are the same black women who will go out here and write books which pretty much degrade their own image because they show themselves having relationships with white men. These same black females who say that they love their image, they love themselves, and they want to present a positive image of self. How do you present a positive image of self when you present yourself as being the white man's mistress, the white man's side piece, or trying to have the white billionaire's baby? They'll go out here and create these images and then say the black man is degrading their image. Well, we're not the ones in front of the keyboard writing those stories. No, guys like me are trying to write positive stories which feature positive images of black women, the type of black women we would have wanted to have relationships with. When I write stories like The Thetas, which feature a young female pledging a black female sorority, I'm presenting a positive image of black womanhood. I'm presenting a balanced image of black womanhood. I'm presenting an intelligent image of black womanhood, just as similar as Gabby Douglas and many other sisters who are out here going out trying to be the best black women they can be. However, these same black women who would have no problem watching Scandal or Empire or Basketball Wives will tell me I'm a misogynist, all because I am being critical of them. Not understanding that the man who is being critical of you cares about you, and the reason why he is being critical of you is because he sees that the behavior you're participating in is dysfunctional. And the reason why I would go out and write a novel like The Thetas is because I want to present a model and an example of the type of black female I want to see in my community. And the reason why I tell stories like your Thetas and many others like your Cassandra Cookbook, now known as A Recipe for Success, or You're All About Marilyn, is because, again, I'm trying to tell stories of a balanced picture of this black woman. Positive stories that uplift this black woman, positive stories that present this black woman in a balanced and humanized light. However, your Afro-American Negro woman will sit there and tell me, I'm a misogynist, I hate black women, and I don't care about black women. And the truth of the matter is, why would I take the time to go out and write these type of stories if I did not love black women? Why would I do that? It just makes no sense when you really think about it. Because why would a guy spend at least about a year of his life presenting a positive image of black women? And then you tell the same black women, when you present them with these stories, telling you that you don't like them, you're a misogynist, or you're color struck. This is what I get when I present them with ISIS series books, is I get to have to deal with this straw man argument of light skin and dark skin. And really, when they do these type of participate in these type of actions, they show me how low the self-esteem many of these black women have, because they really, when it comes down to their own image, they talk about people degrading it, but when black men try to uplift your image, you then try to attack these black men like myself and tell us that we're doing your image wrong. So it's like a no-win situation in many cases for black men. We go out here, we present positive images, balanced images, humanized images of black women. However, we're told that there's something wrong with those images. Meanwhile, your black woman will go out here and present books of herself out here at the side of a white man. Meanwhile, and it's just crazy when you think about it, because here I am presenting a balanced image, and when I do books like covers like Your Temptation of John Haynes, I have a black man with a black woman. Meanwhile, your black man writes a story with a black woman at the side of a white man, and this is considered to be uplifting the image of the black woman. Completely backwards when you think about it, because the black man who's out here trying to present that positive image of black womanhood, he's the one getting slapped in the face. Meanwhile, they're sitting here saying that their image is being degraded by black men on YouTube, and that there is a need to campaign and boycott against those kind of images. And I say to that, that's again another attempt to get attention from black men who have pretty much figured out that the game with these black women, that they aren't being bashed. What it is that many of these females are spoiled, they feel entitled, and they want to continue to be enabled by a group of simp black males, white liberals, and white feminists who tell this woman that she's great, when really she's in the worst state she's been in since the days of slavery. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.